Our August the 27th City Council meeting. Moving into our order of business. Madam Clerk, would you read ordinances under final reading 7A and B together as a package, please?
Item A, an ordinance amending Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 2, Section 2, 110K, partial payments of property taxes and water quality fees. Item B, an ordinance closing and abandoning a sanitary sewer easement beginning northeast 9 feet from MH number S145F007 to S145C004, 226 feet, from S145F004 to S145C158, 41 feet, and from S145C004 to S145C003, 31 feet, for a total of 298 feet. Tax map numbers 145FA002, 003, and 004, as detailed on the attached maps, subject to certain conditions.
Councilwoman Burrs.
Move approval.
Second.
We have a motion on the floor to approve items 7A and B with a proper second. Are there any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Moving now to into planning 7C, Madam Clerk.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 6664 Sand Switch Road from R1 residential zone to R5 residential zone.
Is the case number 2024-0106, is the applicant present? Okay, is there any opposition present? All right, Councilman Smith.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. As discussed earlier today, I do want to offer an amendment here. And Ms. Rennick, if you don't mind coming and reading that for the record. And I would like to make one alteration in that condition and adding that there will be only a single point of egress to Sand Switch Road. Please.
Okay. So subject to single-family detached units or only one single-wide manufactured home within the area of rezoning.
And 1 point of egress to Sand Switch Road is the condition. And I make that in the form of a motion, sir.
Do I have a second? Second. All right, we have a motion on the floor to amend with a proper second. Questions or comments about the amendment before we vote? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no.
Move to approve as amended.
All right, we have a motion to approve as amended with a proper second. Questions or comments? All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed, no. So moved.
And sir, that does take us back. We will hear it again next week because that does take us back to first reading with that amendment.
Yes, that's correct.
Thank you, sir.
All right, thank you.
You're good.
All right, Madam Clerk, moving now to 7D.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone part of a property located at 7437 Charlotteford Road from R1 residential zone to RTZ residential townhouse, zero lot line zone, subject to certain conditions.
Case 2024-0108, is applicant present? Is there any opposition present? Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. We are in final read, but I'm going to defer this till September 10th, please. That is in form of a motion.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to defer until September 10th with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes do have it, sir. All right, Madam Clerk, 7E.
An ordinance to amend Chattanooga City Code Part 2, Chapter 38 zoning ordinance so as to rezone property located at 2400 Chamberlain Avenue from R2 residential zone to UGC urban general commercial zone, subject to certain conditions.
All right, this is under final reading. I knew we had some work to do on the other two. Councilwoman Coonrod is not here, but this did pass on first reading. Councilman Ledford.
I'll make a motion to approve, sir.
Second.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. We have no ordinances under first reading this afternoon. Moving now into resolutions. Madam Clerk, if we could take item 9A and B together as a package.
Item A, a resolution confirming the appointment of Mary Westbrook to represent Districts 1, 2, and 3 on the Passenger Vehicle for Hire Board with a term beginning on August 28, 2024, and ending on August 27, 2027. Item B, a resolution confirming reappointment of Susan Gilmore to the Board of Zoning Appeals for District 7 with the term beginning on August 30, 2024, and ending on August 29, 2027.
Move to approve.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve items 9A and B with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Is Ms. Westbrook or Ms. Gilmore here this afternoon? Either one? All right, I don't see them, but we do thank them for their willingness to serve on these boards. Moving now into economic development. Madam Clerk, if you'll take items 9C, D, and E together as a package, please.
Item C, a resolution authorizing the mayor, his designee, to enter into a memorandum of understanding with the Bessie Smith Cultural Center in substantially the form attached regarding feasibility study and the potential development of the property. Item D, a resolution of the City Council of the City of Chattanooga approving the issuance of subordinate obligation of the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Chattanooga in the aggregate principal amount of not to exceed $5 million and authorizing the execution of an interlocal cooperative agreement, multi-use stadium project, subordinate bonds with the Sports Authority of the County of Hamilton and the City of Chattanooga, Tennessee. Item E, a resolution authorizing the mayor to execute a new cooperative agreement with the Chattanooga Housing Authority, CHA, to terminate and replace the existing cooperative agreement between the parties dated March 18, 1968, as amended October 24, 1968, for all existing future CHA housing projects, council approved pilot projects, and mixed-income housing developments during the term of the attached agreement.
What's the pleasure of the council? We have a motion on the floor to approve items 9C, D, and E with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved. Madam Clerk, let's take under Parks and Public Works 9F and G, please.
Item F, a resolution to adopt the 2024 Evolving Our Riverfront Parks Framework Plan, which will guide, shape, and form the parks redevelopment in accordance with the city's new needs, in accordance with the adopted 2023 Parks and Outdoors Plan. Item G, a resolution authorizing the Department of Parks and Outdoors in partnership with the River City Company to apply for and, if awarded, accept the Blue Cross Healthy Place Grant for the revitalization of elements of the Evolving Our Riverfront Parks Framework Plan in the amount of $10 million.
Councilman Ledford, followed by Councilman Hester.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. I was going to defer to District 7 since this is where the majority of the work was taking place.
Move to approve, of course.
So if you'll allow me to second that, I'll be happy to.
Councilman Hester, would you like to third it? Is that what you? Move to approve. Okay. We have a motion on the floor to approve items 9F and G with a proper second and third. Any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. Motion carries. Madam Clerk, if you would, let's take items 9H, I, and J together as a package, please.
Item H, a resolution authorizing the Department of Public Works to apply for and, if awarded, accept funding from the 2024 Safe Streets and Roads for All, SS4A, grant for the purpose of supplemental planning and demonstration activities within the city of Chattanooga that would support the broader 2022 SS4A Comprehensive Safety Action Plans, CSAP, currently administered by the Regional Planning Agency, RPA, Metropolitan Planning Organization, MPO, depending upon inclusion in the capital budget and approval by the City Council for an amount up to $2.8 million with a local not to exceed 20% match of $560,000. Item I, a resolution authorizing Chief of Police to apply for and, if awarded, accept the grant from the BJA for the FY 2024 Local Law Enforcement Crime Gun Intelligence Center Integration Initiative, CGIC, to be used to expand our current award-winning program by enhancing technological and training capabilities to continue our mission to reduce reduce crime, gun violence while expanding our ability to utilize crime, gun intelligence for a 2-year period beginning October 1, 2024 until September 30, 2026 in the amount of $300,000. Item J, a resolution authorizing Chief of Police to apply for and if awarded, accept the grant from the Hamilton County District 3 Homeland Security Council, U.S. Department of Homeland Security, Office of Domestic Preparedness State Homeland Security Grant Program, which in 2023 awarded Hamilton County $209,546.88, which will be administered to Chattanooga Police, Saudi Daisy in Hamilton County, and Chattanooga Police will receive $59,500 to purchase 3 K-9s, training, and equipment for a grant period ending January 31st, 2026.
Move approval.
All right, thank you, council. We have a motion on the floor to approve items 9H, I, and J with a proper second. Questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. The ayes have it. Moving now into purchases. Good evening, Julia.
Good evening. We have 4 purchases recommended for approval this evening. The first is from the Fleet Management Division of Public Works. This is a one-time purchase of a 2025 Freightliner 114 SD tri-axle dump truck with 20-yard ox body from National Auto Fleet Group in the amount of $214,130. The wastewater department approved this purchase and will utilize the Sourcewell contract number 032824-NAF. The second, also from the Fleet Management Division of Public Works. This is a new blanket contract for BMW Police motorcycle maintenance and repairs. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $100,000 per year. Received no bid at the time of the original bid opening. Solicitation was re-advertised and produced 1 bid. The award will go to Pandora's European Motorsports as the best bid for the city of Chattanooga. The third purchase is from Technology Services. This is a one-time purchase for Brink Drones hardware, software, and services for the DFR Dock and Patrol Base program for CPD in the amount of $464,986. This purchase will utilize buy board contract number 718-23. The fourth and final purchase is from the Department of Parks and Outdoors. This is a new blanket contract for sports court repairs. This will be a 4-year agreement not to exceed $225,000 per year. The award will go to Competition Athletic Services, Inc. as the best bid for the city of Chattanooga.
Move approval, sir.
All right, we have a motion on the floor to approve tonight's purchases. With a proper second, any questions or comments before we vote? All in favor, aye. Aye. Any opposed, no. So moved.
We do have one sole source purchase to report. This is for the Regional Planning Agency for annual maintenance and support for RPA's zoning information mapping systems. WSP, formerly Amec Foster Wheeler, is the original developer of the Regional Planning Agency's ZIMS, a software system built on a GIS platform. The cost for this is $35,000.
Thank you, Julia.
Thank you.
All right, council, we move now into committee reports. Councilman Smith.
No report, Mr. Chair.
Councilman Ledford.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Planning and zoning will meet on September 3rd.
Thank you. Councilman Hester.
Parks and outdoors and public works will meet on next week.
All right, thank you. Councilwoman Burrs.
No report, sir.
Councilwoman Noel.
No report.
Councilwoman Dotley.
No report.
Vice Chair Hill.
No report.
Thank you. Okay, that takes us to the point on our agenda that we recognize persons wishing to address the council this afternoon. I see Mr. Bell at the podium, so I'm going to ask the attorney if he would read the rules to address the council.
Yes, sir. And at the end of each council business meeting, the chair will recognize members of the public who wish to address the council, and as you know, here are the rules. Each speaker wishing to address the council can only be recognized at the microphone provided up front for that purpose. Can't have more than 3 minutes to speak, and you can only address the council upon matters within their legislative and quasi-judicial authority and not upon matters which are not under their authority or regulated by other governmental bodies or agencies. You cannot use vulgar or obscene language nor use the floor to personally attack or personally denigrate others, and address your comments to the council as a whole and not towards individual council members. And lastly, do not engage in disorderly conduct or disrupting a public meeting which is prohibited by Tennessee law, and someone commits that offense if a person substantially obstructs or interferes with the meeting by physical action or verbal utterance with the intent to prevent or disrupt a lawful meeting or gathering. Having stated those rules, please go ahead, Mr. Bell.
Well, thank
Let's
you.
get- Hold on one second, Mr. Bell. Let's get 3 minutes. There we go. All right, go ahead.
Thank you. Monty Bell, the homeless journalist, the gray-haired fox, the man with the trillion-dollar voice, and in need of my money. I've submitted to you all, from the office of the city attorney. I got them today. That means nothing has changed. It's a copy of your open records request form. It says on the bottom in red ink that once the request is made, the city attorney office has 7 days to respond. Urgent, non-negotiable, December the 15th of 2023. That's the week before Christmas of last year. And your city attorney, neither you, the county attorney, neither anybody in the state of Tennessee has complied with this open records request. But I've been challenged every time I've come to this mic by the chair and then some other volunteer attorneys. Robbed at the cashier at your New Food City. I asked you over the phone, who is the district representative of this New Food City at 1375 Broad Street that robbed Monty Bell for over $500 in his food stamps? Haven't gotten them back yet. It was robbery at the cashier, with the cashier and perhaps the sack boys and the manager, Jerry. It's all a scheme. It's all a plot. The Department of Human Services had the whole thing on file as the transaction was being made at the cashier. Your police officer came on August the 9th to take a report. This is after Monty Bell had called 4 or 5 times to your dispatch, telling them it's the homeless journalist from 727 East 11th Street. Make sure that address is in the report. We've had a residency challenge all the way from your former police chief to this Monty Buer. Now we've got a police officer that puts Monty Bell's parents' address that he hasn't used in over 40 years on a police report. This is a report against EPT fraud, not ATM. I went there yesterday. Sir, could you tell me where your ATM machine? They can't find one there. Address and everything wrong in your police report. I want this corrected immediately. $211 billion, $34 million is because you all have allowed one of your representatives to pursue Monty Bell for over 43 years. We've got confirmation from the federal government. Monty Bell has never made contact with anyone from Brainerd High School since 1981. Why are you pursuing me? And why have you done it all these years?
Bell, please don't direct your comments to a single.
You've done it to me every single time
Your
I've come
time
to this
has
mic.
expired. Thank you.
$211 billion, $34 million is for this fall.
Time's up.
And we'll be back for our money next week.
Anybody else that would like to address the council this afternoon? Oh, wait, you got one more? Just can't see her back there.
I'm sorry.
Come on up.
Okay. Thank you. Janice Gooden, District 8. One of the hats that I wear is related to the Rosenwald schools. And you have a resolution that's coming before you next week about a grant remembering the Rosenwald Schools project. I had the opportunity to talk with Scott Martin briefly, but we formed a steering committee about 2.5 years ago, working with the national park partners locally. We've had a few events, and we're beginning to gather information, oral histories, and all that at the Bessie. But I don't know if you're familiar with the Rosenwald schools, but in this area, there were 8. Bakewell School, Booker T. Washington, Chickamauga School, Georgetown School, Hickson School, Roland W. Hayes, which was my school, Summit School, Brenda Jean Adamson is connected with that school, and the Washington School, I believe was the elementary school. So just wanted to bring that to your attention, but this was a partnership between Julius Rosenwald and Booker T. Washington, and they built over 5,000 schools mostly across the South. At the time that I was at Roland Hayes, the school was in the county, but we were annexed in, I guess, 1970, so. Anyway, I just wanted to bring that to your attention. Thanks.
Thank you, Ms. Janice. Just a reminder, before we adjourn, that our meeting next week will begin at 3 p.m. 3 p.m. Is there anyone else that'd like to address the council this afternoon before we do adjourn? I'm not seeing anyone, council. What's your pleasure? So moved. Adjourn. Excuse me.